guys, we're back here. I'm gonna start a layer, and in this video, I'm gonna start a layer. I'm gonna print a layer. I'm gonna use the master drawing to place that layer in exactly the spot I need it to go to on my piece of printmaking paper. So I'm gonna show you a registration system, and I'm gonna start this print here. Here we go. Everything's kind of set up. This is locked down in my printing board. Kind of double check, make sure that doesn't move around. I've got my clear Mylar here, taped down on one side, just a piece of packing tape. And yep. So here's how you kind of start things in your print. Clear Mylar's down here. Lower this screen, and I'm going to print on this, register the master drawing to the print on the clear Mylar with these registration tabs, and then I'm going to print that layer on the rest of the pieces of paper I've prepared. So they're all in the same spot on the same piece of paper that are all the same size. So that's all really important details for registration. And once you're set up, once you put ink in here, it's go time. You need to focus on printing and get through all those layers. So kind of getting ready to do that, looking over everything, got things handy in a place where I can use them. I don't have anything out that's not important to this layer I'm printing right now. Blue ink. Okay, and first thing when you start printing, so let's start at the bottom of the stencil, and I'm going to put out what's called a bead of ink, and I want to put out enough to print and flood the screen back. Okay, kind of like, right, that aside, always have like safe area to put your ink and your inky spoon. Have some paper towel out to clean up your hands, get a little bit of ink on it. Here we go, squeegee. Things are handy, master drawing, newsprint, prepared printmaking paper. And here's, lift this up, and I'm going to flood the stencil. And that's, you put your screen on one side of the bead of ink, and you push it over you push it through the stencil and load up the stencil with ink. It looks like this. Okay, I can just tip it off and leave an inch between the frame. Put your squeegee somewhere safe. And first thing I'm going to do is, step one is print on this Mylar. Okay, grab that ink, this side of the bead of ink, just slightly tilt the squeegee. Smooth motion, make sure I finish the entire stencil. First thing I do is I got to protect that stencil from the ink drying up in there, so I'm going to flood the screen back. I'm just going to softly put a layer of ink back over that. Okay, just filling up the stencil. Okay, so print it on the clear Mylar. And what I do now is I'm going to match up that shape I printed on this clear Mylar to the blue shape, to the blue areas in my master drawing. Just trying to be as accurate as I can. I want to work kind of quickly though, because what you really don't want to really kind of disturb your workflow is if that screen gets clogged up, if that ink in there dries and gets clogged up. So be accurate as possible, go kind of quick. Okay, that's it to me. So I'm going to kind of trap this with one hand, put this aside. If you want, you can kind of like keep that down on one side so it doesn't move around. This is exactly where I want it to be. I'm going to use these registration tabs I cut. I'm going to make an L in one corner with tape and kind of secondhand paper. Okay, and you want to make a little ledge for the corner of the paper to sit in so that you can take away the master drawing and place the rest of the pieces of paper in the exact same spot. So that layer gets printed the same spot on your piece of printmaking paper. Okay, so I made an L in one corner, and I'm going to make just a ledge in the other corner. And this is, I'm butting up the thickness of these two papers against the edge of the paper. All right. One other thing, if you don't have any spray glue, you can tape down these little more extra piece of paper that I cut in sort of a half moon, and I'm just going to place those just over the edge, and they will catch the paper after I'm done printing so that it doesn't go up with the wet ink. Okay, so these aren't part of registration. I'm just using them to kind of hold down the paper. And I can take that away now that I have this kind of registration L in a ledge. It's a master drawing. Master drawing is attached to one of the pieces of paper that are cut the same exact size of these other pieces of printmaking paper I have. So now just kind of butt that in the corner, put that on the ledge, kind of slide it under these little holders. Just a little help keep that paper from coming up with the screen. Okay, it's nice and in there. All right. Okay, so I think I'm gonna put down a little more ink. Tip with your ink is, it gets stuck in a lot of places where you can't use it, like the corner of the screen or on the squeegee, and you need to kind of like corral, sort of marshal that ink into a place where it's useful to you. Okay. Firm, steep angle. Print all the way through. Don't bring that ink all the way into the corner. First thing you do, push that ink back over your stencil to keep it from drying out. Okay. Okay, and you're gonna put these somewhere where they won't blow away, somewhere where they're safe. Okay, they just go under these little tabs to hold it just barely enough pressure to hold it down and keep it from going up the screen. And the paper sits in this corner I made, and on the ledge over here. Okay. Firm angle, hand on the edge of the squeegee on both sides. One motion forward, back towards you. Flood that screen back. Ideally, hopefully, this layer is being printed in the same spot. All these consistently being printed in the same spot. Okay, sits back in the little corner I built, goes under these little tabs to keep it down so the paper doesn't come up. Corral your ink, put your ink in a useful spot where you can use it. Alright, decide if you have to put a little more out or just corral it into a spot where it can be used. Okay, I didn't quite pull enough ink out with me there, so part of my screen isn't flooded with ink, so I don't want to keep filling it up with ink, but I do want to get some ink in there so that that minute layer of ink after you print can dry really quick. If there's one little additive you can add to your ink, glycerin and the tiniest bit of water, and it'll slow the ink drying time down. Okay. going good. Clean layers. Alright, so under the tabs, in the corner, and on the ledge, under the tabs. Decide if you need to put a little more ink down or just move it off the squeegee into a place that could actually be useful. You always want to have enough to print and enough to flood. One thing too, it's kind of hard to tell how much pressure you need, but you need enough pressure so the screen can make it all the way down to the paper. It's actually kind of a lot of pressure, and the pressure's got to be even all the way through your stroke. Okay, that was all the printing papers I have. I'm going to just kind of print onto a piece of newsprint, and that'll kind of pick up most of the ink. I want to save this sky blue and get ready to clean up. Alright, so that was how I registered a print and got started with my first layer. Next video I'll show you the next layer, how to register that layer so it'll be positioned where it needs to be so that it'll line up with the other color.